Hello, comic fans of the interwebs, and welcome back to Why You Should Buy, the continuing series where I take pieces off of my shelf of collected comics and manga and graphic novels, tell you why I bought them, and why you may want to check them out as well. Today, we're going to be looking at the Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus, which collects the full Miles Morales run from the Ultimate Universe before Secret Wars when he joined the standard Marvel Universe. Even though this book was only published in June of last year, it's already gone out of print and is commanding at least a slightly above average price online. So today we're going to look at why I picked this book up and if you should spend the money on getting a current copy or wait until we get a reprint somewhere down the line. As the name suggests, this book collects exclusively the Miles content from the Ultimate Spider-Man, not any of the Peter Parker run that Bendis was previously associated with, and it contains work from Bendis as an author, Sarah Pacelli as an illustrator, and David Marquez as an illustrator as well as a few fill-in artists here and there, but mostly it's these three creators that run the length of the book. And it's a fairly chunky tome as well, collecting around 40 issues of the Miles solo series, as well as 10 issues of crossovers and different Ultimate Universe related books that Miles was part of during his run. Now, for me personally, going into this book, I had not read it while it was coming out, and my only experience with Miles was actually from Into the Spider-Verse, and I have to say, I actually really prefer the film Miles to this particular version of the comic book Miles. It's not that he's a bad character, but compared to the way that they defined him in the film, he has a way more defined nerdiness and goofiness and awkwardness in the film that I think makes him very likable. And in this, he's not totally generic, I wouldn't say that, but I don't think he's the most exciting character to root for. He seems kind of a little bit passive at times, and I just overall don't care for his characterization as much as the Into the Spider-Verse movie. But Miles does have a pretty good supporting cast around him. His roommate Genki, who they basically plundered the character of for Ned in Spider-Man Homecoming, is a really strong, supporting, funny character who acts more childish than Miles as Miles is trying to shed his early teenage years. And he has a few other superheroes that guide him here and there, a crossover with two different versions of Peter Parker over the course of this run. And overall, I think the world around him is pretty fun and pretty solid, even if he himself is not the most charismatic or particularly strong leading man in that story. So why did I pick this book up? Well, for me, it was mostly actually a product of hype. I had been hearing people talk about Bendis' Ultimate Spider run for so many years as a really defining run in comics in the 2000s, and even though I tried to get into it and wasn't that into it when I tried the earlier Ultimate stuff, I thought maybe this would be the right content for me later after Peter Parker had already exited, just a fresh start into the Ultimate Universe with Miles, so I decided to pick it up and see if it lived up to the hype of what Ultimate Spider-Man was for so many comic readers over the years. And the writing, I think, is good, not exceptional, and very standard Bendis. It's very wordy, lots and lots of internal monologuing and really heavy dialogue expositions. I think it can be good in places. I do think he writes compelling characters, and even if it is wordy, it kind of works for the Spider-Man quippiness that Miles shares with Peter. But I don't think in overall arcs and grand story directions, I really didn't find it to be that cohesive or satisfying, especially towards the end. It felt like he was trying to wrap up some strange plot threads and just get everything neat and tidied up so the Ultimate Universe could end in an understandable way. But a lot of the individual plot threads I didn't feel were that strong. The characters within them, especially when Miles joined some side characters, had like a little mini superhero team with Cloak and Dagger, I really enjoyed all the interplay, and I genuinely think it is good writing, but in terms of directing the overall narrative of the Ultimate Spider-Man universe, I thought it was just okay. I'm sure some of that probably has to do with the fact that he was trying to tie things into different events going on, like Cataclysm, that were shaping what was happening in the Ultimate Universe, but either way, I only found the writing to be good, not amazing. I also liked a lot of the art, though it is very thoroughly modern. The two artists that are leads on it, Pacelli and Marquez, both work digitally, and it's very clear that they do in their lines and in their works. It's quite clean, quite crisp, quite defined. It has a very digital look to it. That's something that I enjoy. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I'm happy to read it now and again on newer books if I want to check out the content, but it's not an art style I seek out. However, if you are somebody who likes really clean art, something like Fiona Staples is doing on Saga, which has like a high emphasis on character designs, facial animations, and sort of a lower attention paid to details in the backgrounds and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of kind of digital wash in the backgrounds. And I think this will be a book for you. It is very clean looking. And if you're a modern comics fan, I definitely think that that is a style that you will enjoy. As for the book itself, this is unfortunately where some big problems come in. This book is notoriously bad in its construction. The binding, you can see mine here, as well as anybody else I think that purchased this original printing. The binding is just not great. The glue on the sort of back inner spine separated completely, which is fine in terms of holding the book together. Look, it's not going to fall apart on you, okay? Even if you can pull that back inner spine away, you can still see all the signatures individually bound within it, and they're not going to fall apart. I can basically guarantee that. However, the spine does not have a lot of support on it, so it gets kind of these odd angles and kinks in it when you're reading, and it's just not very good for the long-term both readability of the book and the structural integrity of the pages and how the book closes on itself. It feels kind of wonky and weird, and unfortunately, because of this, I'm going to have to recommend that you, in fact, do not buy this edition of the book. I think the content is good to great, depending on, as a reader, what you are into. For me, it was just good. I think for a lot of people who are into modern comics, it will be probably a great book that they would rate it, but I don't think that anybody, no matter how much they like the actual content of this book, should, at the moment, pay prices of $100+ for a book that just has bad binding like this. The current price of this that I can find online seems to be selling around $100 to $115, somewhere in that ballpark. And like I said, you can only find them used because it's out of print. However, I have heard things kicking around online that there's going to be a reprint of this book with corrected printing. I can't confirm that. I don't know. I just don't have access to, the actual knowledge that the company does. But I have heard people on comic book groups I'm parts of say it pretty definitively that they believe it is coming. So hopefully that is the case, and that if you're interested in this content, you can wait and pick up a version of this omnibus that is actually going to stay completely intact over the course of its reading life. But as of now, even though I think it is good content, I don't think it's a good presentation. So for the why you should buy on the Miles Morales Omnibus, I don't think you should at all. And in fact, it's something that I'm going to purge out of my collection now that I'm done reading it, just because the content was not amazing enough for me to hold on to it long term. I hope you guys enjoyed this overview of the Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus. If you'd like to see me talk about more graphic novels, manga, and other comics from my collection, please leave me a comment telling me what you'd like me to cover in my next Why You Should Buy video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.